Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's time for a controversial view. Today we're going to be taking a look at LUCKER, the Necrophagus, I believe is how it's pronounced. Now, I really don't have much of a history with this film other than the fact that I've had the Synapse DVD in my cart probably 20 times over the years and just never bought it. I was kind of unfamiliar with the whole story behind the film itself. But then I saw uh, another YouTuber, King Need Gore, actually did a review and an overview on this film, probably as you're seeing this a couple months ago. Definitely check out his video as well. He has a lot of really great information on there. So Joe and I became curious about this film, of course, from him talking about it. So rather than get the copy that most people have seen, Joe actually went and got a bootleg of the original VHS. Now, this is significant because this is the actual BDM VHS, which has the most complete uncut version of the film. The Synapse version runs at an hour and 8 minutes. This one runs an hour and 11 and change. So there's more footage. So that's basically my history with the film, and learning about some of the things that go along with this film. So let's start the controversial view here. Basically, the most controversial view part of this movie, LUCKER, is the subject matter, but it does go a little bit deeper than that. What you have is you have a basic, kind of like a Maniac ripoff. I remember watching it and saying to Joe, I said, this is like the poor man's Maniac. This, of course, is dubbed in German because of the copy that we got, the bootleg that we got. And the dubbing is pretty poor. And it kind of makes you laugh in some parts, even though it's not really supposed to. But it's basically like a Maniac film. You have this guy named John Lucker who attempts suicide, from what they say. He gets out of a hospital and starts a rampage. And that's basically what you get throughout the film. Just him killing people and going on a rampage. Now, that wasn't the original intention of the film. And that's where the other controversy comes into mind. Originally, this film was a lot longer, but the producer actually destroyed all of the negatives of the film. Now, we're not really sure why he did that, but I thought that was very odd to back this film and put that much money into it and then to destroy all the copies. So it's very, very rare to get a copy. I mean, you have the one from Synapse, and that's pretty much the only one I've heard of other than this BDM version that we have. So, very odd that he would destroy all the cuts of this film. Yeah, never really heard of anyone doing that before. And you also have the director who, in order to salvage a bit of what he had to kind of compile from the film that he had a kind of like a story. And this does tell a story, although not a very cohesive one. Like I said, it's just about a guy who gets out of a hospital and goes on a rampage. This story was supposed to be a little bit deeper. It was supposed to be about a journalist who is investigating John Lucker, and she becomes very intrigued with him and wants to take up his mantle. So the Lucker character ends up killing the reporter and then goes on about his rampage. So there's supposed to be a lot more to the story that no one will ever be able to see, which is why we have the woman here, who really doesn't play a part in the story that we see at all, which is, I think, is really kind of interesting. All in all, the gore is pretty good. Um, I guess I expected it to be a little bit more extreme because some of the movies that I've seen have been a lot more extreme than this one. But you also have to take into consideration that this was made in '86. So movies didn't tend to go that extreme back then, unless you're talking about like Faces of Death and stuff like that. So, do I recommend this? Um, it's tough to recommend a movie like this because you're not exactly sure who's going to be offended and who isn't. There is one big scene in this movie, kind of like uh, the part that was supposed to get everyone disgusted and nasty and all that. And by today's standards, it's just not as effective as other movies have been over the years. So, if you're interested in Maniac, I would say check this one out. It's kind of like a poor man's Maniac. But if you're offended very easily and if gore disturbs you, like Joe always says, we watch them so you don't have to. But like I said, if this is something that you may be interested in, like serial killers and stuff like that, it's actually not a bad film. Just the dubbing gets a little iffy at times. So I would say check it out if you're interested. And don't forget to check out Joe's controversial view for Lucker the Necrophagus. Physical media matters. And until next time, peace.